Do you know Jimmy?
This episode today is sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink that's made to give you focus with no crash. It contains zero sugar, gluten-free, contains vitamins, amino acids, nootropics, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. This is a great thing, especially, dude, I love this type of stuff because I work about, 12 hours on a shift every now and then, and this definitely will get you through the day without crashing. It's fantastic. All flavors are unique and custom made by Dubby. You'll never experience any other flavors like this anywhere else. You have to get their stuff. It's fantastic. For 10% off, use the code HEAD. That's HEAD, HEAD. Get yourself 10% off with every order. Go get yourself some Dubby today.
Do you know Jimmy? You guys know Jimmy? Jimmy was gnarly. Jimmy was Jimmy. Jimmy was off the hook. Jimmy was nuts, bro. It was awesome, dude. Jimmy was like...
All right. Dave, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing fine. We are just cruising right along in these winter days here.
Yeah, man. It's been nuts.
All right, what do you want to start with? You want to start with the reindeer piss? Or do you want to start with the hay burner? I know you're craving that hay burner.
Yeah, I'm kind of jonesing for it. I'm not going to lie, man. It's been a while.
We got also Big Ditch day burner. Sorry, dry. Day burner. I hope it's not dry.
Yeah,
I'll be fucking pissed.
Hopefully it's refreshing.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. So, Dave, what you been up to, man?
Man, I've been just running around the United States, it feels like, dude. But it's kind of part of the job, I guess.
Where you been?
So, let's see. Most recently...
Let's start it. Where you started. You started...
where I started? Oh, man.
Niagara Falls here.
Take it all the way back to the beginning.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, dude. So, I had to go through... MEPS in town here in Niagara Falls at the Air Reserve Station.
What's MEPS?
MEPS is like military entrance processing. It's basically like what allows anybody who wants to join to get in, and it's like a mixture of like background checks and like like testing and stuff like that. But then it's also like medical, and medical is usually the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. So
like physical and full physical.
Oh yeah, man. They make you
fit
do
test and shit.
They make you do weird shit there, man. They make you like duck walk, look like an idiot in your underwear, and they make sure you're not like hiding any medical injuries or anything like that. Nice. So you just got to be honest there. And
is the duck walk in case something falls out of your butt?
No, I think it's just to make sure you don't have any like feet problems or back problems or something like that. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I definitely can't even easily demo it for you now. Probably
no.
Now that I've gotten over that hurdle. But yeah, it's like the craziest thing about doing this thing is like this process is there's always like a wall in your way.
Mm-hmm.
But it just like takes a lot of patience to like kind of push yourself through it and just keep trying at it. And if you run into a wall that's kind of hard to pass, kind of like in the event of like medical stuff, it's like you just got to hope there's a waiver out there for you, because there is a waiver for just about everything in the military. You can always get something waived.
Okay.
So yeah, man, it was a long process. It feels like it took a year or two to get through it all and to be patient and then get picked up. Once I got picked up, then it was history from there, man. So I've been down to from MEPS in Niagara Falls here. I ended up going down to officer training school for the Air Force in Montgomery, Alabama, Maxwell Air Force Base. That's where I learned about how to be in the military, and I was surrounded by a bunch of like prior enlisted people who were crossing over from enlisted to officer, and they were able to really help me pull me through that and make sense of it all, because they're just like, this isn't the real Air Force.
So those like some veterans going into a different field?
Yeah, man. Yeah, okay. Exactly. I was surrounded by a bunch of, a lot of older people who had a lot of experience. I was surrounded by chaplains, people who were going in for different religions to be a chaplain, nurses, doctors, There were like the one dude in my flight. He was senior master sergeant select, so like very experienced dude. He had been in for over I think like 13 years. Um, but he was security forces,
Okay.
off like police officer pretty much, and he was crossing over to become an officer for security forces. And so like
Nice.
those guys are gritty, and if you want to be in charge of a bunch of gritty guys, you got to be a gritty guy. And he knew his shit. He was a real smart dude, so he helped me through that for sure. And then just like a lot of hospital admins were going through too. So like like uniformed military, but they like are in charge of med. They run med groups pretty much, or
Okay.
like different medical facilities on military bases. So it's cool. And then pilots. There's a bunch of pilots. So
That's awesome. So, is it like regular boot camp? Did you have to learn combat?
So again,
by the way,
oh
cheers,
yeah,
buddy.
cheers, brother.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all the nine.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
good.
That's actually not that bad.
You like it? Definitely lighter tasting, you think?
Oh, a lot lighter.
Yeah, that's good because I mean, hey, sometimes you
Looks
just
lighter.
it does. Yeah, I mean, it looks like an IPA is supposed to look, but just with a little bit lighter, little less dehydrated piss looking.
It looks like piss.
Yeah, man.
It's all right. Doesn't taste like piss, everybody. It's fine.
No, dude, nothing wrong with a little big
I
ditch, man.
honestly think that this is the only other big ditch that I've tried other than Hay Burner.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I take that back. No, I have gotten a flight from the actual
Oh,
brewery
yeah,
before.
man.
I have gotten a flight, but I can't remember what they all were.
I'm trying to go there at some point soon before I leave.
Oh, let's make a date. Let's
Yeah.
go. I want to go to.
We can go, man. Hell yeah. But
All right, yeah, back to your story there.
anyways, I was just saying, it was just like, introduction to just like customs and courtesies, what the Air Force is all about, all the core values, all the important stuff that the Air Force wants to stress to you, and you essentially are supposed to walk out of there bleeding blue, as we say, and
Okay.
you take that for what it's worth, but it's just like the idea is for they want you to buy into what the Air Force is all about, and like obviously it's what I wanted to do, so I was kind of already bought in before I even started, man.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, just hacking the mish and supporting our joint forces out there in combat and wherever else we go. So it all was appealing to me, and then just knowing that I was going to be able to do the job I've always wanted to do at the
Mhm.
same time, like that was enough for me to say, well, whatever struggles I have here, and further on, at least I know I'll be doing the job I've always wanted to do in the process. So.
I think that's a rare thing for a lot of people. Not a lot of people can get the actual job that they aspired to be in since they were a little kid.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I know I have fucking not. I've switched ideas of what I wanted to do like every fucking year, it seems.
Yeah,
So
it's all right, man. Like you're allowed to change, what interests you and what you want to do, and even if something still interests you, it's no matter what. Like I said, just like going through MEPS and going through military processing and stuff like that too. Any barrier you run into, man, it sucks, and sometimes it hurts, and it's just and it's tough to say like, hey, I got to keep trying, but sometimes you just got to keep trying.
mhm.
Whatever it is you want to do, any angle you can shoot, man. Because like OTS was my last option. Like I applied to the Air Force Academy in high school. I didn't get into that. I applied into get an Air Force ROTC scholarship and go to RIT. I didn't get that. That's a super competitive scholarship, and it would have been a full ride.
Oh, nice.
RIT was way too expensive, so I just had to
Yeah.
go to UB and save some money.
Yeah, I got a couple cousins that went to RIT.
Yeah, man. It's like a neat school with like obviously really good education, but like I went out there for their open house, man, and I just was like, no, like it just didn't. I didn't like it. I got accepted there, but I just was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
So UB was the place to go, huh?
yep. So
University of Buffalo.
Yep. So that's another thing too. I guess is you got to get your 4-year degree to be an officer in the Air Force. So that's what I did, and it's funny going there. I did computer science. I pushed myself through that. I didn't do great. I didn't get A's. I didn't get B's even sometimes, man. I was getting like shit. I was getting C's and D's, man.
I would have flunked for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I was hanging on there, but I did computer science. I switched from aerospace engineering, thinking that was the career field I needed the background I needed to have to get in aviation.
Okay.
But you don't, dude. Now that I'm in, my like best friends are like poli-sci majors. Like I met a musician who was not only he was a navigator, and then decided that that wasn't enough, and so then he went to pilot training and then became a pilot. So he had double ratings on his chest. He had 2 sets of wings.
Nice.
And I'm like, what is your background in college? He was like, oh, I was a music student. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I thought you had to be a fucking engineer or something like to do this job. And he's like, nah, man, like you can literally do anything. The Air Force will hire you as long as you pass their tests, and their tests are hard in the beginning, but then you realize their equation, how they kind of go about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, all right, this isn't so bad, but anyways, you just got to get through all their crap. And like I said, just keep being persistent. So
you went through officer training. That makes you an officer?
yeah. So
what's your ranking right now then?
Some first lieutenant.
Nice.
You start off as a second lieutenant under normal circumstances. People with like different education backgrounds and different experience and work and stuff like that might get higher rank depending on what they got. Like a JAG will get commissioned, which is a lawyer. A lawyer will get commissioned as a first lieutenant. And then in 6 months, they'll promote to captain, so to start making a more competitive pay. Because in the real world, a lawyer can be making a ton of money right out of law school. So they try to like make it more competitive. Doctors, like I went through officer training with doctors who were like majors, and majors like a pretty high rank. Like it's a lot of experience for most people who stay in. And sometimes it's pretty much a pretty well earned rank for a lot of high ranking officer folks. And the doctors are like a major commission, and they don't know anything about the military or the Air Force. They're just trying to like get through training to become a flight doc or whatever, So it's funny to see that, because like they don't know what to do, but they're like, but you like look to the higher ranking people for their guidance and their experience, right? But
yeah,
not them.
Just not the doctors.
They're still figuring it out,
Doctors don't know shit.
Doctors and nurses too, but it's basically the Air Force's way of making sure you get compensated for your education level.
Okay.
If you went through med school or law school, you probably spent a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So like the Air Force gives you a higher rank, because then it also boosts up your pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, being off the streets and just trying to be a pilot, like just about every pilot starts off as a second lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years you get first lieutenant, and then after 2 years then you get captain. So that's your like how your promotion works.
So it's like every 2 years you just get promoted either way?
No.
Okay.
After captain to major, you don't. You have to apply to the major board for your class or whatever, and you have to have a good it's like your OPRs, your officer performance reports,
like a resume.
Yeah, like a resume, like an Air Force resume or military resume. You put that up to the boards, and you just gotta hope that your OPR bullets are money.
All right.
And if they're money, then you can get major, and then beyond that, you got to go to. They also want you to do like what do they call it, like PMC, or like it's like professional military education, like more professional military training. So like ACSC is Air Staff Command School, or ACSC. Sorry, I don't know acronyms very well, even though I'm in the military. ACSC is Air Command Staff College.
Okay.
And that's like how that'll help you get like major. I think it even could potentially get you a master's degree. Getting a master's degree used to be a requirement. I don't think it is anymore, but they change it so often. Sometimes getting a master's degree is what sets you above everybody else. So like stuff like that, just strats, things that makes you stand out against your competition. Like for pilots, like flying hours, having a lot more flying hours than another pilot, looking for the same promotion, put you ahead of them. You know what I mean? Especially like if it's like operational, like flying hours mission.
It's like a seniority thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like a resume, like at a job. If you guys are all on a level playing field, but you have that little bit of extra, you get it.
Yeah, you've been doing more overtime that year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
we have that with we have mandated overtime.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls in, there's a list, and that goes by seniority, and it goes by hours. So if you have the lowest hours and the lowest seniority, guess what, boy? Tough shit. You can't go home tonight. You got to stay over because somebody called in.
Yep, exactly.
It's no big deal. I just call it. I look at it as free overtime to me.
Yeah, basically, right?
I didn't plan on doing overtime this week, but hey, whatever.
It's time and a half, yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you still get it. Still get the overtime pay.
But
so
yeah, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, especially because like for me now I spent my whole early life working as hourly. I wasn't ever salaried, but now I'm salaried. So it's like, and you're salaried, and then like you're also in the military. So guess what? When they tell you you need to be here at 2:00 in the morning, Man, you have no choice.
Yeah, but can you leave like after, like you say, you work 8 hours? But, like you went there at 2:00 in the morning and you worked your 8 hours. Can you go home, or do you got to stay your regular shift anyways?
So it's hard for me to say at this point in my career because I'm just getting out of AETC, or Air Education Training Command, which is like Air Force's MAJCOM or Major Command that like regulates. It teaches you Air Force, right? It teaches you your job, teaches you about the Air Force. It's all just training based. And in AETC, it's like I said, it's just training. Like it's not AETC does like help like grab people for like operational stuff, but like most of the time it's literally just focused on training up the next generation of Air Force, airmen and warfighters and stuff. So,
Okay.
So like for me, I've always had set schedules, like even though they're all over the fucking place, like I still had a set schedule. I don't have to be at work longer than, 12-hour days on the worst. Sometimes I think the worst days I've had in AETC are like 12-hour, 14-hour days, maybe. But again, it's like just part of the expectation, but it's not consistent. It's not long all the time.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just very regulated. But once I go operationally, which is the next step here, dude, it depends. It depends. So it's exciting, but at the same time too, it's like a little less freedom in a way, right? In a way. So more freedom in some ways and less in others, So, but anyways, yeah, it just. I was talking about just ranking up. So yeah, after majors, lieutenant colonel, and then 06 colonel, like you need to go to like Air War College, and you need to be like the best of the best, and those are the ranks of commanders of squadrons and wings. Like an 06 is a colonel. Those guys are in charge of entire bases.
So you guys get wings or stars when you progress. Like generals will have like a 5-star general or whatever they are. So does that still apply to you guys, or is that just Army?
So no. The rank structure is pretty much the same in the Marine Corps, the Air Force, and the Army. The Navy is a whole other beast, man. No diss to the Navy, but you guys got some weird ranks and a lot of uniforms, a lot of different uniforms. When I graduated OTS, there were family members and friends of other officer graduates. Mm-hmm. And there were so many uniforms on graduation day, like so many dress uniforms. I didn't know who was enlisted in the Navy and who was officer, and I was like saluting everybody, and they're like no, like I'm like, oh man, you just try to be like show good customs and courtesies, especially when you're fresh out of your initial military training. But you're just like you don't know what's going on, man. It's just the joke of the lost lieutenant. Mm-hmm. But Navy doesn't make it any easier. It's super confusing with all their ranks. But anyways. Yeah, so like you were talking about stars, so like generals get stars, right? Like you're the 4 different general ranks because there's four stars, right? Mm-hmm. Your first general rank is a brigadier general, and then the next one is going to be a major general. It's 2 stars, lieutenant general, 3 stars, and then general 4 stars. And then in the past, we've had 5-star generals like Patton.
Major general or something like that. Is
no,
that a made up thing?
No, major general is the 2 stars. So no, it's
Sorry.
like. I think it's still just general.
Just need to learn to listen.
No, you're good. You're good, man. You're listening. I can talk for friggin' ever, man.
I know.
So
that's why I got you here.
You're just gonna have to insert some questions in the middle of my breathing breaks here.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like we've had in the past, like during like World War II, I think was the only time, but like 5-star generals, and that was like Patton and I think Eisenhower. I'm really bad with history. I'm sorry.
I'm not good with U.S. history. I'm good with other history.
I should be better with history, but especially U.S. military history. But anyways, yeah, the 5-star general thing was very much a big wartime thing. But anyways, yeah, so general is stars. But then you talked about like stars with experience. Like so with different jobs in the Air Force, especially. I don't know how other branches do it. But with jobs in the Air Force, you have different levels, they call it, of your job. So as a pilot, I guess we don't like really call it levels as a pilot. We call it pilot, senior pilot, and then like, I think it's like, God, I can't remember the middle one. I think it's like pilot, senior pilot, and then like, I might be getting them confused. But basically like, the Air Force has like your job is like a badge, right?
Okay.
So my badge is wings.
Yeah.
So my wings are just the wings with the badge in the middle. There's nothing else on them, right? And that's because I only have so many flying hours.
Yep.
If
you guys haven't caught on yet, Dave's a pilot. Okay, he flies planes.
Yep. just get up there and kick on autopilot and just relax.
How many hours do you have?
So that's a great question. I only have at this point in my career, I actually only have about like 300.
That's actual flying? What's
of actual flying.
You got more simulated hours?
If you include the simulator hours I have, then you're talking like 800 or 900. I have a fuck ton of simulator hours.
That's because you're a video game guy. You just love it.
I don't love it. Truly after experiencing flying an actual plane versus doing it in the sim, I love flying an actual plane.
Oh, I bet.
It's a unique feeling, experience. Your body feels weird. It's whatever, but we'll hit on that more in a second. Yeah.
You had a simulator at your house when you were younger.
Yeah, I had,
right? So does that count for hours in simulator?
No, actually.
On your own home computer?
You would think with how fast technology is advancing and how much more simulation is becoming a part of like training for all different things, including like commercial airlines, you would think that it would start to count, but not. Like at home, not yet. The Air Force is doing a program though, where to fly the T6 Texan II, which is your first like Air Force labeled like flying air pilot training airplane. You spend time in a VR goggle software where you learn how to fly the plane.
Really?
In a VR kind of environment where you can even link up with your buddies that you're in training with all next to each other and fly together in formation via VR, like simulated VR.
Do they have this on the Oculus? I'm gonna have to look that up. I
don't know if it's freely available to the public.
I'll pay for it.
But I'm sure it's based on X-Plane. Have you heard of X-Plane before? It's a software that has like different like simulating. It's like Microsoft Flight Simulator, but only like
I had that growing up.
Yep, me too. Yeah. So yeah, X-Plane I think has like the T6 Texan II like software that like allows you to be able to basically fly it. And the biggest thing I noticed with that, I was able to test it out when it was brand new before they like started actually implementing it into training. And from my perspective, having already like had simulator hours in training and like actual flying hours too, it really only seemingly helped procedurally. It only helped you with like your getting your checklist down and memorized. Because when you fly the Texan II, you have an instructor behind you.
Okay.
But they treat it as a single seat mindset. So like they teach you how to be a single seat pilot to potentially get you ready for fighters. Because in a fighter jet, man, you got all that power, all those weapons underneath your, underneath the wings and everything like that too. But you're the only one in that plane. You are the aircraft commander. You make the decisions, and you are by yourself if something happens. So
how fast have you flown in those jets,
man? So like. Because of the types of
sound
planes.
barrier?
No, not that fast. So it's just because of the planes I've been flying, man. Like, it's a whole rabbit hole of a process.
What is it you're flying? Is it the T1, whatever? What that one?
The fastest plane I've flown is the T1 Jayhawk, which is the AMC. I call it the AMC trainer. It's the Air Mobility Command trainer. It's basically just it's a small private jet that the Air Force bought. It's a Beech Jet BE 400 or whatever, or BE 40 that the Air Force bought up a bunch of and kind of modified to make it more difficult to fly it, to make it more like an actual like bigger Air Force airplane.
What cartel did they confiscate that from?
Oh no, I think the cartel is the contract from Beechcraft, because I can't believe Beechcraft let them do this to them, but the military waved their money in the air.
Yeah, all right.
Anyways, I'm saying all this, but like I hated that plane. I hated the way it handled. It was a slug in terms of how it handled. In terms of how it flew, it had two jet engines, so it was a jet, and it flew. That was the fastest plane I've flown. I would be taken off and have to level off at an initial altitude after departing, and I was a student pilot. I sucked. Easy to admit, right?
Yeah. All right.
I went through all that shit, and I'd level off. Right, exactly. And I'd level off at my initial altitude and look down, and I'd be cooking. I'd be getting ready to break the 250 knot speed limit in the airspace we're in, and I'd be like, oh shit, pull the power back, or my instructor would look over at me and just be like, hey, how fast are you going? And I'd look down and be like, oh, so.
Oh, so they limit your speed while training?
It's not even while training. It's the rules of
Okay.
airspace. I can't. This is a whole other podcast on aviation rules in the FAA.
All right.
I won't dive too much into that, but basically, like when you're close to certain airports, different airspaces, you're limited to about 250 knots.
Okay.
You can't break that. And
Is that just because of like sound ordinance, or is it literally just because of other air traffic?
probably all the above.
Okay.
Probably all the above. Air traffic is one thing. It's sequencing, right? Like when you're in a terminal environment, which is around an airport,
Mhm.
You're there with the idea that other planes are showing up too.
Yeah.
You're not the only show in town, so you gotta like. The idea is to regulate how fast people can go in this area, and they picked a speed that fits most. It doesn't fit all, but it fits most.
Mhm.
Fighter jets are the exception, right? They have waivers that have existed since the dawn of a fighter jet
Okay.
that allow them to go faster in these airspaces, because if they fly 250 knots, they might fall out of the fucking sky. 'Cause
Okay.
they are not designed to go slow. You know what I
It's the
mean?
Crotch rocket of the sky.
Yeah,
right there,
exactly.
man.
They're
The
not designed to go
Hayabusa
slow.
of the sky.
So fighter jets kind of get the ultimate waiver or whatever.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, man. So, but what was I saying? Just that, like, yeah, man. Simulators, flying hour stuff. It's cool to have gone through all of it, but I've gone through the most basic, just sitting in a cockpit replica of my
Mhm.
plane and just flicking switches and running checklists just to get them memorized in my fingers and in my arms and everything. To my most recent training, which was C-130J in Little Rock, where I'm in a full motion simulator. It is literally a entire box on like hydraulic stilts that we go on motion, as they say,
Okay.
and now when I pull back the yoke, the whole simulator tilts up and then it
Oh,
tilts
that's
down
awesome.
as we descend, and it rolls as we roll, and the feel is cool. It's so much cooler because without that, your brain is tricking you. You're looking at the screen and you're flying and you're thinking that you're leaning, and your
Mhm.
brain plays games with you. But then when you're actually moving too, you get that feeling in your body a little bit. It's a little more close to the real thing.
Hmm.
But then what's crazy is then you spend, like me, almost 100 hours in the simulator for me a C-130, only to go out to the flight line and hop in the C-130 for the first time, and it feels totally different again. And you're just like, oh my God, like what?
So is the simulator more jerky like an arcade game? Or is it nice and smooth?
nice and
So-
smooth. The real
so the
plane
is
kicks,
jerky.
The real plane kicks your ass, especially
wow.
the Herc, man. Because so getting into the weeds again here, the C-130, and it's easy for me to say this because this is what I'm about to go do for the next.
So you're gonna
10
be
or 12
flying
years.
C-130s.
Yeah, man, C-130J.
All right.
It's the Super Hercules. It's the old C-130s of generations before were always the little short, stubby version that
Mhm.
it hauls cargo. It does its thing, right? Troops, garbage, whatever you want. The Super Hercules, now it's the J model. They stretched it out. They made it a little longer, so a little more
Okay.
cargo space, little better handling in some aspects because of it. And then the engines. The biggest thing is the engines. The engines are like higher performance engines, 4,700 horsepower per engine, turboprop. So, yeah, man, this aircraft is designed to go low.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slow aircraft. It's not that fast, but we can turn it up, especially with these engines. But we don't go very high. We don't go very fast. But our job is tactical airlift, man. We go down 300 feet above the ground, lower if we need to, but in training, 300 feet above the ground, and we just hug the terrain, man. And we just look clear for threats on the ground, but we go to where we need to go to,
Mm-hmm.
open up the door, pop up, drop people with guns, cargo, you name
While
it.
you're moving,
While we're flying.
so people are jumping out while you're moving
we airdrop. It's airdrop, man.
at 300 feet.
We usually
That's-
pop up a little higher than 300 feet just because parachutes.
Yeah, I'm
need to
gonna
have
say
some
that's a
time to
fast
open.
drop for
Yeah,
parachute.
but we pop up to give everybody that time for their chute to open. But like,
Okay.
that's what we do, man. We are tactical airlift. We airdrop. We'll airdrop. We'll fly back to a dirt runway in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the sandbox,
Mm-hmm.
which is what they've been doing for the past however many years, and land on a dirt runway that's like 60 feet wide, and we'll just plant it, and then just roll out. We'll have cargo in the back. We'll do a combat offload. We'll basically just like the load master in the back will just like loosen up the locks or let go of the locks as we're like rolling on the ground, and they'll just push the thing and it'll just slide right out as we're rolling.
Okay.
And then we'll just turn the plane back around again and take off going back the opposite way just to get out of there because, you just imagine.
Oh, you don't just touch down and go?
No. So in the past they used to do low drops where they would just like fly right above a runway, and then just like real low without even touching the ground, and then they would release the cargo and slide it out of the back. But they don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure why. But there's some probably very smart, well-educated folks.
I'm assuming things have gotten damaged.
Yeah, and I mean, either way, things are going to be rated to take some kind of impact, because even with a parachute, stuff's pretty heavy and it's going to hit the ground. But we drop, like we have like different classifications of what we drop, right? Like CDS bundles are just like a bunch of like single kind of square bundles on a pallet.
Yeah.
I think there's like dimensions that define it.
Yeah.
There's heavy equipment, which weighs above a certain whatever, right? The Army like always has heavy shit that they want us to drop. And then there's personnel, right? Like just guys with guns, like airborne often. So we drop those guys off. And then sometimes too, it's like special operators too, depending on the situation. Usually we're not the ones doing that, because there's spec ops, C-130s that go out and do that stuff. But it just depends on the nature of the nature of the exercise or the war or whatever is going to be going on in the future. It just depends, right?
Yeah.
They could call on us because we're nicknamed Slicks because we don't have anything on us that like helps us do anything besides just carry cargo. We just move stuff around, and that's it. Whereas there's like the Combat King is the HC-130 Combat King that's got like a FLIR ball on the front, like a infrared laser camera. Like they do all the cool stuff with that.
Nice.
And then AC-130s, you know what those are.
Yeah.
MC-130 is the Commando. Like that thing is like just a C-130 that does a bunch of different things that we're probably not allowed to even like talk about. So
I want to know more about that.
Yeah, man. Well, it's probably worth some research.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this because my father was also in the Air Force for 30-odd something years.
Yep.
And he was the load master. He was a tech sergeant for a while and then went to school and became master sergeant.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
then retired. So I know a little bit about loading these planes.
Mm-hmm.
That was his job. That's what he's done my entire life. So
yeah, dude.
I always want him here. Every time I get you around and talking about
I
just want him here to just chime in on what he knows and everything.
I want him here because that's the best thing about enlisted folks, especially like current and retired, is like
it's the camaraderie behind it.
I'm a brand new officer to the Air Force. I'm an idiot. I'm probably gonna say something that's wrong or stupid.
No.
And your dad, guys like your dad will be there and be like, "Nah, you're fucking lying," or that's not right. Be like, "Okay."
My dad wouldn't do that.
Well, your dad's been removed for a little while, so things have probably changed. But,
yeah, that's what he would go to.
But
like,
no,
yeah, maybe.
But that's one thing I love is like you know what I mean. Like I've spent so much time being at a pilot training base, especially around officers, and not to like I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here, but like man, like there are just some real crazy personalities at these places, man. Officers specifically.
Oh yeah.
That you're just like, man, like you are not what we were like. You do not act like how we were trained to act in OTS or like in officer training.
That's the authority complex that people get.
Yeah, and
they get a little bit of authority. Bosses in regular jobs get it all the time. They get that little bit of authority to place their thumb on people, and it doesn't go well for a lot.
And it's crazy too because there's a job in the Air Force for pilots called First Assignment Instructor Pilot, and it's FAPE. We call it a FAPE.
Okay.
My buddy just became one. He's been flying with students as of recent, and he's loving it. He was like number one in his class, and this is exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to stay in Columbus, Mississippi, and be an instructor pilot.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. He's a great guy. He taught me how to golf, like super patient.
Golfing?
Yeah, man, golfing. I'm still bad at it, but it's not his fault. He's made me a lot better than I was before I met him.
You enjoy golfing?
Listen, man, when I was at OTS, all the prior said to me, Dave, if you're going to be an officer in the Air Force, you're going to learn how to golf. And I'm
really?
And I'm like, no, like that's fucking stupid. Golf's dumb. Like I don't like it. Why would I do that? And they're like, no, you're going to learn. Like you're going to be an officer in the Air Force. You're going to learn. You're going to learn how to golf. There are literally golf courses on almost every Air Force base.
Really?
Yeah, almost.
Wow.
They've closed some that weren't as popular or whatever. The one at Columbus was a 9-hole. They closed that. In favor of making it a fitness trail now.
I actually like those. They have one here in the falls too. I used to run that when I was a kid. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. So it's smart. It's smart what they did with it, but it's still like they could have. Actually, I think they just moved the disc golf setup. They had disc golf somewhere else, and it didn't make any fucking sense on Columbus Air Force Base.
Oh,
and they just
damn it.
yeah, no, not around here, man. Unless you want to go to the doon digga doon 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 Mississippi. Like,
Oh yeah.
you don't need to do that. But anyways, I think they put all the baskets on that old 9-hole, which just makes perfect fucking sense. If you're not gonna let people golf, at least let people disc golf there. So, anyways, yeah, man, it's like what was I saying? Just that, like, see, losing my train of thought, man.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. talking about golfing, but yeah, like I was talking about golfing. So yeah, they just told me they're going to golf, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Well, officer training school ends. I get stuck at Maxwell Air Force Base for another month because of COVID. COVID just hit as soon as I graduated. COVID was like the big fucking deal. This was like the 2020, March 2020, and the DoD put in a stop movement for all personnel. They were like, if you're not essential for any reason, you're not going anywhere right now while we figure out what COVID's all about and whatnot. So I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't leave Maxwell. A lot of people made it out just before the stop movement, but I had to stay because I had orders. I had a TDY I had to go do to Wright-Patterson in Ohio, but that got canceled. So I was stuck there. And me and my buddies were all pilots or pilot, selects. We had to stay there for an extra month and hang out. So I ended up meeting my friend Aaron there, who's the first assignment instructor pilot at Columbus. And he taught me how to golf. He's like, he's like, everything's closed. We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. We have to stay on base. He's like, but I have my dad's golf clubs in the back of my car. Let's just go to the golf course and see what's going on there. The golf course was closed, but they left a sign next to all the carts, like not the golf carts, but the push carts.
Okay.
And they're just like, hey, like the golf course is closed, but we have nothing against you taking a nice leisurely stroll through the through the golf course.
Go ahead and walk it.
Yeah, through the golf course and having enjoying it. So that's what we did. So that's where he taught me how to golf, man. And yeah, I learned a lot. I was bad. I'm still bad, but definitely a lot better than I was back then. I don't know what it is, man. It's fun. It's relaxing until like you're like ready to break your club because you keep whiffing on the ball or like I top it all the time too. Like I don't get underneath the ball ever because I think I stand up on it. But anyways, man, but then the one time you hit that one shot, I'm sure it's the exact same for disc golf.
Oh yeah,
because I don't play, but you hit that one shot and then you're just like, oh, I gotta do that again. I gotta do that again. Like I got it in me, right?
Oh yeah, it's a good feeling when you get that nice perfect throw in disc golf, especially if it's a lot of places here in Western New York they love the woods, dude. Mm-hmm. So they're through the woods. If you don't hit a fucking tree and that disc lands within 5 feet of that basket, best fucking feeling.
Yeah, I imagine.
It's so nice.
I imagine,
and the confidence you get is great.
I've seen some of the clips too, like of course the best videos circulating on the internet, right, of guys playing disc golf, and that one guy, like he didn't even see, you couldn't even see the basket, and he throws it, and it was like a dog leg or something like that into some trees.
Oh, I know. I just watched it the other day. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either, but it was like a dog leg into some trees.
Hat and glasses.
I think so. Yeah. And then as soon as the cameras were all set up perfectly, you follow it, comes into the woods, and the basket's right there. And I don't know how the hell he did it.
He just did a backhand anhyzer, so the disc is on a little bit of an angle, and it just goes this way, and it just follows that line of flight until, depending on the type of disc, some of them will carry it and just stick right there. But he had, I don't know if it was a mid-range or a putter that he was using. I didn't look that closely. But then after a while, it leveled out and just fell right into the basket.
And it was a hole-in-one, dude.
Fantastic shot.
Absolutely
no, that wasn't a hole-in-one.
Oh, no, it wasn't a hole-in-one?
No, I think it was, I don't know if that one was a birdie or an eagle. It was a very important shot.
Crazy.
It was a very important shot. That was during a tournament, too.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Do people even get holes in one in disc golf?
Oh, yeah, I got one.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I got one this year.
That's cool, man. Congrats. That's awesome.
I'll clap for myself because nobody will.
I'll clap for you too, Jimmy.
I was very happy, very excited about it.
Jimmy,
on a smaller course, smaller hole. I think it was less than 300 feet, par 3, and I smashed it right into the chains.
You're crushing it, man.
Great feeling.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling, dude. It's great just hearing it hit the basket.
Right. Yeah, I imagine.
Not even sticking in it. I mean, just hitting that basket off your drive is a great feeling. It's the same, I would assume, with the guys driving, playing golf, and hitting the pin. So, I would lose my mind if I hit the pin.
So yeah, like that.
That's a smaller target with a small fucking ball. If you hit that pin, dude, I'm done. I'm going home today,
man. But so for me, man, like what happened was the one day, man, I just got it on the green. Right, I'm probably already like one over par, because
bad.
I'm well, right, but I'm
For a 9-hole?
no, it
Or
was
was that 18?
it was an 18-hole course, but like
What hole were you on?
it was probably like a par 4 or par 5, so it's
Okay.
probably already like 1 over par, and
What hole were you on? What number?
I don't remember, to be honest. It might have been because
Because if you're 1 over par on hole 3, you got a while to go still.
Yeah. No, I guess I'm not talking about the whole course, just for that hole specifically.
Okay.
Like par for that hole was probably a par 4
Okay.
hole or par 5,
And you did it in 5?
and
and a 4.
I had it on. It was 1 over, and I was chipping onto the green. Got it on the green, but I was like far as fuck away from the hole,
Mhm.
because they had the pins or the hole was on the far side of the green that day, and I had like a 25-foot putt. Or
Okay.
Like, it was probably more than that. It was probably like a 30-foot putt. And man, I kind of I was going uphill with it, so I gave it a little extra power.
Mm-hmm.
It was a dead accurate putt,
Nice.
but it smacked the pin because I didn't have my buddy pull it out for me, and it bounced back.
Oh, damn.
It smacked it. I was like, fuck. So yeah, there's no winning in golf. I feel like unless you're Tiger Woods or my buddy, my buddy Aaron, who I was talking about, who taught
Mhm.
me how to golf.
Does he compete?
No, but he's been golfing since he was this tall. And,
Okay.
And
Well, you see, he has a fallback of what to do after the military.
He has multiple fallbacks, man. He's awesome. He's a smart dude. He was originally applying for med school.
Mm-hmm.
Was probably gonna get into med school, and just waiting to hear back. When he kind of decided, like, he's like, actually, I've always wanted to be a pilot. He's like, let me try that. So he applied for that
Okay.
while also waiting to hear back from med school. And they were like, oh yeah, like you're pilot select, like you're in, coming to OTS.
Okay.
And that's how he got picked up. And he just ended up calling that like the med school back that he was waiting to hear back from. He's like, no, I'm good, thanks. And I'm like, wow, man. So you could have been a medical guy. You could have been a doctor.
Still can.
He still can. Yeah, he definitely can. He'll be
Yep.
like that. He'll be like that Navy SEAL who's also an astronaut, who's also a doctor, who's also a
Why not?
yeah, man. Just save some for the rest of us. Jesus, you know.
So what's your commitment for being in right
Oh,
now? How long
bro.
you got to stay in?
That's also a great question. So most officers, it varies from like 4 to like 6 years, sometimes maybe even 8.
Okay.
And it just depends on what contract you sign, right? Like when you're sitting there at MEPS, right? Like this is where I signed a lot of my contracts.
Mm-hmm.
At MEPS, and this is what MEPS was crazy as a more a little bit more life experience person who worked in different jobs and stuff like that before joining. Like it's crazy to think about high schoolers going through MEPS, like fresh out of high school, and they're shoving contracts in your face. They're telling you if you're not honest with us, like you can get arrested. You know what I mean? Like we'll get you in trouble with the law. Like
Mhm.
it's crazy, man. It's crazy to be on the other side of it now. But again, made it through there, no problems, all good. Anyways, yeah. So my active duty service commitment, active duty,
Yeah.
because there's guard and reserve too.
Are you still in training technically right now?
No.
Okay.
Well, so yeah.
So when does
So
active-
sure. I'm technically still in training right now until I PCS.
All right. So when does active start? After
So-
the new year?
The moment I got my wings, my active duty service commitment started.
Okay.
So I was already in the Air Force for 2 years of training before
Mm-hmm.
I started my active duty service commitment. Because I'm a pilot, and because the Air Force wants to get their money's worth out of you
Mm-hmm.
as an active duty pilot, because they invest probably about $1 million into me
Okay.
in order to get through pilot training and all the subsequent trainings. 10 years. So
10 years.
So I'm going to be active duty for 10 years, and then once after that. Excuse me. Oh, coming back. He's coming back. After
About
that 10.
I've been blowing up over here.
Yeah, man. Out of the top or the bottom?
Yeah, top for now.
But yeah, man. So after 10 years, I am no longer required to stay active duty. I
Okay.
can leave, separate completely,
Mhm. Or just go to reserve.
or go to reserve or go to guard if I can get hired by a guard unit. So and
Okay.
it's crazy, man. I'm literally almost 3 years into my journey here, and I already kind of was like, why didn't I go guard, man? Why didn't I go to reserve? Because man, there's just some, things are good, but like there's just some things that you see and you meet all different people from the guard and reserve, and especially in pilot training,
Mm-hmm.
and their outlook on their careers and their time in the Air Force is totally different from yours because they're just more relaxed and they're not worried about like these OPRs making these bullets and then being the best that they can be at everything and being cutthroat. They're there to have a good time and fly airplanes
Mm-hmm.
and hack the mish, man. Like just to do the job, deliver the fuel, deliver the cargo, deliver the people, and just watch each other's back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I haven't experienced anything operationally yet, so I can't really talk more on that. I'm excited to get out there because I'm sure it's going to be like that operationally, but in training at least, you're just like you get burnt out, man. You get tired because like you're just constantly being told how it is and what it is and blah blah blah, but you're not actually experiencing it.
I'm sure it changes on who you talk to too, right?
It does, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
mileage may vary, right? And my friend Aaron, I was talking about, he cracked me up because, like I said, he's been flying with students now in the T6
Mhm.
Texan 2, and he just told me, he's like, I've already had like 2 or 3 of my students tell me that was the most fun flight I've ever had, like so far.
Yeah,
And
all right.
and Aaron's just like takes that to heart because like that's what he wants. He wants to be that kind of instructor who makes the student learn something,
Mhm.
but also have fun.
Yeah.
I had so many instructors in pilot training that just were there to kick my dick in, man. And it
Mhm.
happens so often.
That's that authority complex again,
And
dude.
it sucks. And it is, in a way, it is important to teach you certain lessons
Mhm.
about yourself and about how you react when it's time critical and when you're in you're up at altitude in a single
Yeah.
in an ejection seat airplane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you need to figure it out. But like knowing that I had great experiences in that plane,
Mhm.
and then I had bad experiences in that plane. But by the end of it, I could say I loved it. I love flying that.
Do they
the
make you
T6.
eject during training?
No,
No, you never ejected.
no, dude. You're.
I'm sure that's
you're
going to be very cost
you're-
effective.
It's not very cost effective for the Air Force. Number one. Number two, it's.
They don't have a simulator
I
to
should-
toss you up in the air,
let me-
bungee jump.
Let me just say.
something.
Let me reorder my things. Number one, it's terrible for your body.
Okay.
Your body. Most people probably can only handle probably like 1 ejection in their life, maybe 2. But the Air Force on paper, I think, says like you can only have like 3 ejections in your career
Mm.
before you're probably going to be grounded for the rest of your life because your spine, because it's
Yeah.
literally a rocket motor.
Yeah.
Takes you off out of your airplane.
Mm-hmm.
So, the T6 is a super safe aircraft, though it's relatively new compared to other Air Force airplanes that are still flying today. They recently had a thing with the ejection seats. I think it was like the rocket motors or something like that. They were worried about them being duds or something,
Okay.
which would be really bad if you're trying to
Oh, yeah.
jump out of an airplane. But
But couldn't you just like roll out with your suit if you had the altitude?
it depends because like your airspeed's a big thing too, man. Like you putting yourself into the wash of the jet stream or whatever is
True.
like a. It's
I'm
like,
sure that there's
yeah,
a bunch of
and then
factors that can go wrong.
the other thing too is the seat itself has the parachute in it,
Oh, okay.
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
strapped in the seat with your parachute harness on you. So
Gotcha.
you need the seat to come with you, or you don't have a parachute.
Oh, okay.
You know, I've got buddies who fly the T-38A model, which is like the oldest model T-38, and they're an aggressor squadron. So they're the ones who are constantly practicing fighter tactics and dogfighting and stuff like
Mhm.
that. They're in like Virginia and in Florida.
Okay.
And those guys, they have to wear their parachute
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because it's not built into their ejection
Back
seat.
back in the old
The
days.
seat
yeah.
will eject you out, but the parachute's still attached to you.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so those guys have the seat attached to them.
So they got the rollout option if they can make it happen.
Yeah, I think so. As long as
I think if you can level the plane off, and if your hood actually ejects off the plane,
yeah, because a lot of these planes have a canopy below off,
Okay. Yeah.
or like we called it, like I think CFIS in the T6. You can
Cephas.
you can blow. There's det cord in the actual canopy itself. And
Oh,
you
wow.
blow the det cord above your head, and just get showered with little pieces of glass, and then you.
In the event of your life.
Yeah, it's CFIS
You know.
makes more sense on the ground. Like if your plane's on fire on the ground and you can't open your canopy for whatever reason, or there's a
Mhm.
fire on the side. See, the T6 canopy opens like this, like sideways.
Okay. Yeah.
So if there's a fire on the side that you would egress the plane out of, then you want to blow the CFIS, pull yourself up out of the top of the canopy and go the other way. You know what I mean? Get away from the fire. So
I love that word, dude.
yeah,
Cephas.
it stands for it's an acronym. You know, one
course
of
it is.
many, but there's acronyms for acronyms in the military and
Yep.
in the Air Force. So bear with me here.
So where are you stationed right now? You're in Mississippi still?
So yes, so I'm still technically in Mississippi, which is my pilot training base, my undergraduate pilot training base
Columbus,
in
Mississippi.
Columbus, Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's nothing nearby Columbus,
Nothing to
Mississippi.
do.
But what's funny is I'm saying this because I was going to preface it by saying there's nothing to do there, but then compare that to Vance Air Force Base in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and then also Laughlin Air Force Base on the Mexican border, in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and Columbus is probably like, from what I've gathered from all my friends I've made from all over the place.
Yep.
It's probably the best base I could have had UPT at in terms of like location.
That's where my father was too.
Yeah, Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So you've got Starkville, Mississippi, right next to us, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
That's where Mississippi State is.
Okay.
That's where that coach just died, Mike Leach.
I don't
he's
know
a
about
college football coach. It's all over the internet right now.
I'm out of touch with my college football coaches.
Yeah, I think he had a massive heart attack or something. So
it's
rest
terrible.
in peace. But
Sorry, bud.
He Mississippi State's right there, so you have a college town there and some good bars and some good hangouts.
I was going to
and
ask.
stuff.
Yeah, Dry County. That was my next question.
Yeah, no. So there are dry counties in Mississippi, but
Mhm.
I'm thankfully avoided those being in Starkville. I mean, even for the Lowndes County where Columbus Air Force Base is, I don't think the Air Force Base would let that be a dry county because I don't know, man. You probably heard some stories, but there's one thing that isn't publicly acknowledged by the military that goes together, and that's alcohol in the military.
Yeah. Don't they
Together.
limit what you can drink
Mm,
on occasion? I guess. I think they do on deployment. You only can.
So
drink
yeah,
a
there's
certain
always
amount.
ROEs, right? Rules of engagement on
Yeah.
how we go about stuff, and the bottom line is responsibility, especially because your career is at risk. Your
Oh,
job,
of course.
You know, leaving Columbus Air Force Base and many other Air Force bases.
What's their is it like a zero tolerance thing? Like one and done, you're out.
Well, you know what's
Caught
funny?
with
You know
a
what's funny is
like a DWI or something.
so on base, yes, on base,
Or
yeah, like any.
or FWI, flying while intoxicated.
Oh, dude. So yeah, dude. We can't even.
It's not even a joke, guys. Don't do that.
It's not even it's super serial, guys.
Jesus.
And it's not even just the Air Force, the FAA too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's in terms of flying, any alcohol in your system is a big no. For
Well, there's
flying.
that bit that everybody plays. I see it all the time. It's an air show,
Mhm.
and this guy chugging a beer breaks out of the crowd while a plane, like a Cub cadet or something,
Yeah.
is running
Yep.
with nobody in it.
Yep.
Which is also a no. That doesn't happen. A plane's not going to be sitting there running ready to go with no fucking pilot in the plane. It just doesn't happen.
I don't know if you watched the whole thing.
Well, he it's his fucking plane. It's
Yeah,
a bit. It's
yeah,
a bit.
yeah.
It's funny as hell. This
Yeah.
drunk dude in a stupor comes running out of a crowd. People chase him. He's like, oh, and he jumps in the plane, takes off, and flies erratically through the air and does a bunch of tricks.
And he does it like 3 feet above the ground too. He's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
has a flap flies off the plane. Like he has a flap
really?
detach.
Oh,
Yeah, he
dummy,
makes-
a dummy flap.
He makes like, well, it's still his flap, but he
Okay.
like can detach it from the plane, and he just like lets it fall and hit the ground every time,
Nice.
and like to make you think the plane's falling apart and he's breaking it. It's nuts, man.
That's a good bit. That's a good show. I would enjoy to see that live.
It is a good bit, and I'm surprised the FAA allows him to do that, but it's the FAA
Maybe.
is like Big Daddy, like overarching whatever. The Air Force is Big Daddy for me, more so, so to speak. But
So do you answer more directly to the Air Force and
Yeah,
kinda
man,
like
'cause
say FAA fuck off?
we follow the FAA, and the Air Force more recently has kind of followed the FAA a little bit more in terms of how they do things.
Okay.
Like a lot of our publications and our guidance is now kind of more so like, hey, instead of like this is what it is, it says, hey, reference the FAR AIM, article, whatever, blah blah blah, or like like paragraph, whatever. So
Okay.
like it's just basically telling you to reference the FAA's rules for this.
Okay.
But the bottom line is the Air Force kind of has the final say on certain things because of operational necessity, right? Like the good news is we're not usually having to do operations in the United States, so we're going to follow the FAA's rules in the United States. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
the moment we go out of the United States, whole other ball game.
Mhm.
It's like the wild, wild west out there in certain places, man.
Yeah. And where are you going?
So next for me, out of Columbus, is Japan. It's Yokota
Tokyo, right?
Yeah, Yokota Air Base, just outside of Tokyo, about 40 minutes. But
Nice.
Tokyo is the largest city in the world. So it's still technically part of Tokyo
Is
metropolitan.
it the largest city or largest population in a city?
I think it's the largest city.
What's the-
But
I don't
we
even know
might
what the population is.
you might have to fact check me on that. Their Facebook.
Facebook. This whole episode ain't going on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, baby. JFR Studios. YouTube. Check it out.
Hey yo,
You excited to go to Tokyo?
dude. I'm so excited. I basically had what was called so while I was in Columbus, I was still in pilot training. I wasn't done yet,
Mm-hmm.
but it was phase 3 of pilot training, which is where you branch off into either fighters or mobility aircraft, and that's when I ended up doing T1s, which is the mobility aircraft. Fighters was
Okay.
the T-38C. I ended up flying the T1. I liked all the tools the T1 had inside of it. It had very useful tools inside of it that they don't even let you use in the beginning because they want you to be like a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
But the plane just flew like shit, even though it had the jet engines. It was fast. But while I was in that part of training, that's when we had drop night. And drop night is where you find out what your assignment's going to be in the operational Air Force.
Okay.
And I didn't know what I was going to get, man. I think I was like middle of my class. Like I was in like the middle third. I was like, I'm somewhere out in the middle of the road. My preference was C-130s. I wanted C-130Js top of my list. I wanted to go out there and do tactical airlift and airdrop and whatever. Like when we would simulate airdrop in the T1, and I didn't enjoy that as much, but the low level flying and all the cool stuff, dude, we just,
It
we'd be like 500 feet above the ground.
It sounds super fun.
It was so cool, man. So I love that. I love being in formation.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in T6s, we'd fly in fingertip formation like fighter jets would. So we were like 10 feet off of each other's wingtip.
Oh, wow.
That shit was scary, man. I was bad at that. I remember my flight commander, he's awesome guy. His name's Cap Lucas. He just said to me, he's back behind me. He's just like, all right, Evans, what do you think about, flying in formation like this? He's like, what are your thoughts? And I'm just like, sir, I'm like, it's so much cooler on the ground to see it than it is in the air because my brain's like, brrr, like don't hit that plane, because you're just like hanging in there trying to stay.
I thought you'd be kind of used to that after riding motorcycles with, in our group rides and shit.
I thought so too, man, but I think flying just adds that whole other dimension, man. It's got that up and down dimension as well as that forward and back and side to side. It's 3-dimensional thinking, man, and yeah, it was crazy. And then like you hit pockets of turbulence when you're in formation too, and you gotta like.
Do you catch any draft coming off of other planes as well too?
Sometimes, yeah, we hit each other's wake when we do certain like formation maneuvers and stuff like that. Yeah, like we would.
I would assume that could throw you off.
Oh, it could put you in a pretty dangerous situation.
Get too far behind them, catch that jet stream coming off of them.
Yeah, it could put you in a pretty dangerous situation. It could bend your airplane if you're not careful.
Damn, really actually like fold the plane.
Like bend. We say bend is like
banking.
No, not banking. Like bending, like physically hurting the airplane, like structurally. But like we say bending, it won't bend it that much, but it might bend it to the point where it might need to be in maintenance for a little while.
Oh, damn! All right, yeah.
So hitting wakes is usually not good, especially if you're like pulling G's. But anyways, yeah. So like I was saying, drop night, we found out our assignments, man. My buddy Alex, he got up on stage. He stood there. You see the Herc pop up on the screen behind him. He turns around. He sees the Herc. He's like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "Oh sweet." His name's Dylan. Last name's Dylan Beck. And I'm like, "Dilly got a Herc." And then wait, and all of a sudden it pops up. I see the Y. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then it pops up Yokota Air Base. He's going like, him and his wife are going to Japan. I'm like, "Oh, that's sick." But
that's
I'm like,
awesome.
All right, I'm like, there goes the Yokota assignment. I'm like, I'm not getting that. But that's cool. Maybe I still can get a Herc,
Mm-hmm.
I go up on stage a little bit later. I'm standing there, and all of a sudden everyone's like cheering. I turn around, look at the screen. I see the square windows of the Herc, and I'm like, yes, I got a Herc. Like, thank you, Jesus. And then, but I'm standing there, and I feel like it took an hour. I'm like, hands on my head, like, what am I going to get? Like, where am I going? And finally, I see a Y on the screen, and I go, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm going to Japan too, man. Oh, dude, it was crazy. Crazy night.
That's actually real nice that you're going with your buddy.
Yeah, like people that I know, man. And I've got another friend who's in a class behind me who also got there too. So like we'll hopefully get to know each other a little bit better and hang out there. He actually, his name's Brian. Brian might be flying out there with me on the same day. So we'll see.
Do you know when you're going?
Yeah, so I'll be headed there in probably like 10th or 11th of January. So
so a little after the New Year.
Yeah, a little after the New Year.
Nice.
So I'm gonna get.
And how long are you gonna be in Tokyo?
So all right, Air
Not
Force.
for the remainder 10 years that you got.
I mean, I hear that's kind of like what you could only wish you do. But
okay.
Yeah, man. Everybody I've talked to that has been there, or visited there, anything, like I said, like they wish they could stay there, and it's crazy to hear that because I'm like, wouldn't you want like a stateside assignment? Or like,
well, wouldn't it be? No. Isn't it work? Does it work the way like my place when an open job is available, instead of like outsourcing it and having people apply, they'll post it inside, and anybody inside can sign for that job. So is it like if an opening pops up at a different base or a different job to do, you can sign for it at any time?
It's a rotation, right? It's a personnel.
Obviously, seniority will go by and rank will go by first, I would assume.
Yeah, but they need different different qualified individuals.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So like your job opens up somewhere else, you can probably sign for it and maybe get approved to go.
So kind of. So what I was gonna say was that because I'm single, because I don't have a family or kids,
Mhm.
or just because I'm not married, because the military looks very fondly on people who are married,
Yeah.
versus single. That's a whole other topic. Because of that, my commitment in Japan is 2 years. I'll be there for 2 years. I could be asked to extend for a third year. I've heard they ask you if you want to extend for a third year
Mhm.
right off the bat. They're like, "Hey, welcome to Japan. Do you want to be here for an extra year?" And people have said to me, "Do it. Like, take it."
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I haven't been there yet, so we'll find out. But yeah, man. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But for now, man, I'm just like excited to just get out there initially. But that's how long I'll be there. After that, I'm gonna basically get. I could probably put down my preference of where I want to go next,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm probably gonna basically be told where I'm going next because that's just how it works.
Do
and
you
then
have a preference?
I mean,
Do
so
you want to go Middle East?
so no, there's no.
I don't think
I was
anybody
gonna
really
say
wants to go.
there's no PCSs to the Middle East.
Okay.
That's just a deployment.
Not anymore.
Yeah. So like there is like Incirlik in Turkey, but that's
Mhm.
for different jobs completely. I was just gonna say because I'm gonna be flying the Herc, we only have so many slick Herc bases, right? So we only have places that the Herc flies out of are Little Rock in Arkansas, where I was for training. That's kind of like Herc Nation, we call it.
Okay.
It's where you learn how to be a Herc pilot, and then also where they actually have operational squadrons. You got Yokota Air Base in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Ramstein in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got Dyess Air Force Base in Abilene, Texas. That's where a friend of mine went, or a couple friends of mine went. And those are like the only Herc bases. So that's probably one of. So Yokota's one of them. I'm probably gonna go to
Mhm.
one of those three after that.
I'll tell you one thing. My father loved Germany.
Yeah, I'm excited to
One
just
of
go
his
pop in.
places, one of his favorite places to visit was Germany.
Yeah.
Pretty much probably because like a lot of the old castles are still there and shit,
Yeah.
and we're real big into medieval shit. So
I don't blame you, man.
he got me this this little knight of armor here.
That's sweet.
He got me that from Germany.
That's sweet.
So it's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to just keep going around the world, man. I probably won't get to Germany from the Pacific from Japan, but while I'm in Japan, my understanding is we're gonna fly into French Polynesians,
Mm-hmm.
the Philippines, Guam, Australia, South Korea,
Mhm.
other locations in Japan, Okinawa,
Yeah.
right where Kadena
And you'll
is,
probably be in those places for
yeah.
a few nights, a few weeks, maybe even.
TDYs is basically what we call them, right? Like temporary duty. Like we'll be popping in there for different things. One of the big things that's relevant to current events right now is we do Operation Christmas Drop there. It's been going
Mhm.
on for many years, and they just did it. They just
Is
did
that
it
where
for
all the
2020.
Toys for Tots go to?
It's not where all Toys for Tots go to, but it is like kind of like that where we basically fly our Hercs, load them up with just a bunch of like food and clothes and just donations and just new stuff too, right? Like
Mhm.
whatever. We load it up with all this like, humanitarian relief basically, and we fly over all these like island where people live, habited islands around the Pacific, and we just airdrop supplies
Nice.
to people. Like
Did you have to do actual airdrops before?
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
so when I was in training in Little Rock, that's one of the coolest things about it is in this we spend like 100 hours in the simulator. Like I said, the full motion sim, simulating all this stuff. But then when you get to the actual flight line, I only ended up having 10 flights. I flew the plane 10 times in Little Rock.
Okay.
I got about 30 hours doing so. But when you fly, besides like 2 of the flights, no, actually I think all of them. I think you're supposed to. At least either you simulate it if you don't actually have cargo, or you do it. You're in the plane as a student pilot with an instructor,
Mhm.
and then in the back you have a loadmaster student with a loadmaster instructor. So they're getting training too. And the way they get training is they actually get cargo to load on the plane, strap it all down, and then when we go out there and do a low level around the Ozarks in Arkansas, because that's where we are,
Mhm.
we hit up our DZ, Blackjack DZ, and we drop stuff. And
That's awesome.
that's how they get their training as loadmaster students, and that's how I get my training as a
So
as
you
a
just
pilot
dropping
student.
pallets, or have you dropped equipment too?
Oh
Have you
yeah,
dropped
I've
tanks
dropped.
and trucks.
Oh no, I haven't done
Oh,
like
come
nothing legitimate. You know, like
All right.
training bundles we call them. Like they're like like
I'm sure it's all one and the same. You just push a button. It's the Loadmaster that really needs to know what he's fucking
oh
doing.
yeah, it's absolutely the Loadmaster. And years ago, it was even more involved for the Loadmaster. They had to actually physically release locks at green light.
Okay.
We have like red light and green light, right? Red light means get
Stand by,
ready
pretty much?
to drop,
Okay.
and then green light is drop, right? Like you look at like old World War II movies, you see the guys in the
Mm-hmm.
DC-3, they're all waiting for the green light to come on before they jump out of the plane.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Okay.
The Loadmasters in the past used to have to physically release the locks themselves in order to drop the things at green light.
Mm-hmm.
But for us nowadays, because the C-130J is so much more advanced and has like lower manning, right? The old planes used to have like 5 crew members, 2 pilots, flight engineer, navigator, and a Loadmaster.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
we only have, because the J has so many more computers on board and stuff, it's 2
Mhm.
pilots and a Loadmaster, and that's it.
All right.
So a lot more responsibility on us, but yeah.
Since you're going to Tokyo,
Yeah.
got a surprise for you. I got some Fuyo Japanese whiskey
Whoa, dude.
for us to drink tonight.
Oh, hell yeah, man. That looks awesome.
I've never had Japanese whiskey before. I've always wanted to try it. So we got a
Ooh.
nice bottle of that.
Dude, I'm gonna have to
crack
send
open.
this. I'm gonna have to send this to my buddies. So I was talking about Dylan Beck. He's already there
Mhm.
with his wife.
Oh, nice.
They've been touring around and enjoying it while they can. So I'll have to send this to him and be like, hey man, got some Japanese whiskey.
Yeah, it's probably not the same that's in Japan, but
It says
We'll
it's
see.
a product of Japan, so that
Yeah.
means it came from there. I'm excited to try it. That's awesome, man.
we'll
Thank
crack
you.
that open. And I got a real important question to ask you.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen any aliens yet?
No.
Come on.
No. But I will tell you this. Part of the again
Any weird blips on the radar?
No,
Something?
no
Come
weird
on,
blips
man.
on the radar. Again, the radar stuff's mostly new to me too because of the difference between like the the ATC training aircraft versus
Mhm.
like the actual like operational aircraft.
You
right?
got all the
C-130.
infrared on it, right?
No infrared, just
Oh.
just the radar, right? The radar is pretty high quality. It's pretty cool what you can do with it. You can paint weather, you can paint things on the ground, right? Like I can like literally like if I'm like flying over a bridge, I can be like, oh, that's a bridge because I can hit it with radar beams and paint it on the ground. It's so
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
It's unreal. There you go.
We're gonna open this up.
There you go. That's what this guy's for, huh?
Hell yeah, man! All right, keep going. Yeah,
But anyways,
aliens.
yeah.
Don't-
No, I'll get there. But
don't
I was
hide any secrets.
no, I'm not hiding any secrets. I was just saying with the airdrop stuff, like obviously we airdropped actual things, and nothing more satisfying than being -2 in a formation. So like my friend Alex, she strong.
Whoa, buddy! Take a whiff.
There you go.
Take a whiff. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It smells good though. So Alex, she was my flying partner while we were out in Little Rock. I'd be -2 behind hers, 2 in the formation,
Mhm.
and then when we get over the drop zone, the doors open up, or just before the drop zone, the doors open up, and we get over it, and watching airdrop bundles, like CDS bundles or heavy equipment fall out of the back of her plane is like one of the coolest things. You're just, because you see the parachutes open up,
Sorry, guys. I haven't been drinking. Shut up.
making all this racket. How dare you? This early in the morning.
Ice
but-
is slippery. It's starting to melt. Sorry.
But yeah, so one of the most satisfying feelings. But then part of the other part of training out there, man, is wearing night vision goggles, like and flying at night. So we would wear NVGs and fly out there at night.
You actually got to fly with the goggles?
Yeah, with goggles on. Yep, helmet and goggles. It's not the most comfortable thing. It's definitely not glamorous, but it's cool as hell how you're able to see. Thank you. With
Like that
NVGs
right in
on.
front.
So, yeah, no aliens to report, but
Yet.
yeah,
No aliens yet.
But if you are out there with night vision goggles on, and this, especially flying, right? It's when we're up above the Ozarks, right? Like we
Mhm.
go out and do a low level on NVGs, but like over the Ozarks, like there's no light out there, right? But NVGs are so strong and powerful these days that like you don't even see a star up in the sky with your naked eye.
Mhm.
The moment you put your NVGs on, you see so many stars.
Oh, okay.
And then the one night we were out there, I'm an idiot. I was probably too busy trying to fly a good airplane. But my friend Alex,
That was my next question.
she looks outside of her NVGs. I think she might have flipped them up for a second,
Mhm.
and her instructor saw Aurora Borealis.
Oh, that's not what I was going at.
They saw They
Alright.
saw it out there. Or, sorry, maybe not even Aurora Borealis. Excuse me. That's probably the wrong one. They could see the Milky Way. You know how like sometimes you see
Yes.
those long exposure shots, you could see the Milky Way out there.
Mhm.
They saw that. They both like were like, whoa, that's like the Milky Way out there.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm like, fuck you guys. Like I'm here's me. I'm like HUD locked on my HUD. Like I gotta pass this flight. You know what I mean? Those guys are out there like actually enjoying
Just
it.
sightseeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoying the flight.
Yeah, man. So, but then, like I was saying, man, like the airdrop, super satisfying. Wearing NVGs, planting a big old, airplane on a 60-foot wide runway,
Mm-hmm.
just planting it and landing it, man, on NVGs of all things too. That's super satisfying.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I
it's
bet.
so cool to know that you can do that. So
That's insane.
that's been a part of the journey, man. Is just learning how to fly a Herc, and then that's what I'm gonna get to go do over in Japan.
Well, Dave, you better call me the first time you see an alien
Mm-hmm.
because I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I swear they're out there. You seeing all them stars and shit. I hate to tell you, half of those are probably aliens.
Yeah, man. I'll just be like, oh yeah, it's just the Delta plane that's like up at 35,000 feet,
Yep, and then it disappeared.
yeah. Well, then Jimmy Ray will be in my head, and he'll be like, no, it's fucking
It's
alien.
fucking aliens, dude. I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
All right, Dave. Let's try this out. Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Let's see how this is. Oh, that's smooth.
Smooth as hell. Wow. And then I was reading the back of it real quick.
Oh yeah, read
Fuyu.
it out. Read it out loud.
Fuyu means winter in Japanese. This whiskey was distilled from malted grain and mashed corn on Honshu Island before resting in oak barrels. Its rich flavor makes it ideal for cocktails such as old fashions and Manhattans.
Mm.
Color, dark amber. Nose, floral and youthful aromas with caramel and spicy notes. Palate, generous oak and cooked fruit finish with a hint of smokiness. I definitely got
Nice.
the smokiness.
Oh yeah, I could taste the smoke for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think the people in New York would favor Japanese whiskey for a Manhattan.
Yeah. I
It's
would,
not really the go-to
yeah,
thing.
I would agree. I would
But
agree. Manhattan's though. I'm not a Manhattan
That is-
drinker, but
that is good. I'm really glad I bought this now.
yeah, me too. That was awesome.
Oh, man.
And then old fashions though. I could definitely put this in an old.
Remember we went
enjoy.
to the place down by the canal and got an
Yeah.
old fashioned? That was still to this day the best old fashioned I've ever had.
What
That was Prescott Precision. Was
Yeah.
the name of the place.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was good, man.
We were the only two in there.
Yeah, dude. You and I were the only two in many different bars.
Many places.
Because we would just go on weird days, but it made it perfect, right?
Just take the bikes out, go to a random bar at a time.
Oh man. Hey,
Those great fucking times, dude.
guess what, Jimmy?
You bought another bike?
No.
Damn it.
No.
You bought me a bike.
I wish.
Fuck,
I wish I
dude.
could buy you a bike. Trust me. You need one that works, damn it.
Yeah, I do.
No, but my riding gear, my helmet, all my riding gear is currently en route to Japan.
Nice.
So when I get there, man, against my mother's wishes, which it was against my mother's wish to buy a motorcycle in the first place.
yeah, of course.
Um,
I think all mothers are against the
yeah,
buying a motorcycle.
yep. And then
It's all right.
I just add the fact that I'm also going to Japan and trying to ride again, but all my gear is on its way to Japan right now, so I'm excited, dude. I'm so excited to get back on a bike. I'm going to be in the
Nice.
mecca of motorcycles, basically, just about.
Mhm.
And I'm definitely going to try to get a bike. I mean, but then the crazy thing too is there's so many people, Americans that are like leaving Japan, PCSing back to the States, that like they sell their cars for like $1,000, $2,000. So I'm gonna get a cheap, easy car. I'm gonna try to get a relatively cheap motorcycle, and then I'm just gonna save up my money so that when it's time for me to leave Japan, I'll have enough money to buy an RX-7, and I'll bring the RX-7 back to the States.
Whoa, man,
That's
that'd
my-
be fucking dope.
That's my goal.
You gonna start fucking Tokyo drifting over there?
Absolutely.
Nice.
I'm gonna go hit the Togue, man. It's gonna be
Nice.
great. So I'm gonna definitely not try to break the rules in all actuality, because I feel like as an American military dude in Japan, I feel like they'll probably come down on you harder.
Probably.
Yeah, but Japan is so unique, man. They just hearing about like what it's like there, their culture and stuff too. They don't litter. They clean up after themselves.
Very clean over there. Yeah.
They
That's what
have
I hear, too.
so much respect for each other and for the elderly, more so like when there's ever some kind of like natural disaster or something like that, if an elderly person or clearly like a handicapped or sick person shows up, everybody puts them at the front of the line, like
Nice.
before themselves. There's no selfishness there.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorite ones is on the streets. There's vending machines on the streets, just like a normal one in America, for beer and
Everything.
cigarettes and everything.
Everything.
And it says on the vending machine the legal smoking or drinking age or whatever is like 20 years old in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
You're over 20.
They don't check. I'm over 20 by a lot. Like there's no concern for me, but I'm just saying like they're just on the streets. They don't check ID
Mm-hmm.
to use these machines, and kids there don't underage drink. They don't buy alcohol underage. They don't buy cigarettes underage because it would be so dishonorable
Yep.
to their family for them to do that and get caught.
Mm-hmm.
That they just don't do it. And
Yeah.
that's crazy because like in America, if we
Raised
had that
different
shit,
over there, yeah.
dude, if we did that shit, man, or if we had that, everybody would be hammered.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
I already was.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I guess I could say same too.
You know, we didn't have that stuff. And
Back
I
when
definitely
Four
was
Locos
hammered.
had energy in them.
Oh, my God, dude. Yeah. We had Four Locos had that. That was even before. No. Before that, dude, we had Tilt and Sparks. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
I've heard of
before
Sparks.
you.
I've heard of Sparks, yeah.
Yes. Sparks and Tilt were the first energy drink with alcohol.
Do you remember cocaine?
What do you mean? Do I remember cocaine?
It was literally an energy drink called cocaine.
Oh, I thought you meant actual cocaine.
It wasn't alcohol. Didn't have alcohol in it, but it
I
was.
was
It
gonna
was an
say,
energy
I
drink.
remember cocaine.
Oh man, do you remember cocaine is so old, man. Back
Yeah, it's
in the
fucking
80s,
great.
man. Man.
No, I remember the original Red Line though,
Yeah,
that they prohibited people for under 18 to buy.
dude.
I think they still do actually.
So crazy how
Red Line
that
was
works.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah, we used to take, because Tilt was green, like Monster Energy green.
Mhm.
So we would take our Monster cans, and we would just dump the Tilt into the Monster cans, because
Yeah.
Monster had, they had one can called the BFC,
Big
big fucking can,
Big fucking can.
and it had a twist off top, and you could reseal it, because obviously you ain't drinking this fucking thing. It was like
Yep.
20 something ounces, I think,
Mhm.
and we would just load it up with the Tilt
Nice
afterwards.
and easy.
And so we're just walking through school with an energy drink, or
Mhm.
class trip with an energy drink. So they thought, and it was fucking Tilt, and we
Yep.
were just getting fucked up.
Yeah,
Good
man.
times.
It's
Now you can't even walk in school with a water bottle anymore,
eh.
because my generation fucked it up.
Oh yeah.
There
Dude.
was kids with water bottles just filled with vodka.
Yeah, I knew kids in my high school who would just be absolutely hammered
Oh yeah.
all day because they would have a Gatorade bottle that they'd mix vodka in.
Yep.
And it was like they didn't do a good job hiding it, but I think just teachers just tried to give people the benefit of the doubt too much.
You can smell it,
Yeah.
especially if you have just vodka in a water bottle, straight vodka.
Yeah.
A lot of kids in my school did that shit. You can smell it on your
Yeah.
damn breath. So if
Yep.
a teacher comes and walks past you, and they're like, "I smell vodka off this fucking kid. Get them the hell out of here."
Yeah, the one girl like it was like I forget what class we were in, but like we were watching like a video or a movie and the lights went off and she
Mhm.
just like
Passed right out.
passed right out on the table.
I've been
And
there.
I'm just like, I mean, like yeah, like you're tired, but whatever. But like we kind of knew something was up already.
Mhm.
She just was being so fucking goofy. So I grabbed her Gatorade bottle and I unscrewed it. And I like took a quick little swig and I was like, "Boop." I'm like, there's vodka in there. Because like when you're
my type of girl.
mentally when you're like preparing yourself to drink like Gatorade, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, oh, it's gonna be Gatorade.
Yeah.
And then you get alcohol on your lips, and you're like, ugh. You're like, that wasn't Gatorade.
no, it wasn't.
Yep, surprise.
Kids don't drink in school.
Yeah, don't do that. That's bad.
It's not fun. There's a lot of stuff in school that I wish I didn't fucking do.
Yeah, and for me,
Whoa, Jesus Christ.
I'm a goody two shoes, but on purpose, right? For a good reason, right?
Yeah, I wish I took my education a little more serious. I would be a lot further along than I am right now.
I mean, I'd say you're pretty well along, Jimmy.
In fucking 30s, dude, and I'm just now picking up on shit that I should have did in my 20s. So
That's all right. It's never too late, man. You can always get started.
it's
on
never too
stuff.
late to start something new. And I'm
Exactly.
starting something new, and it's something I want to do, and that's all you can really hope for.
And here we are. Cheers.
Yes, buddy. Cheers to that one, dude. Do what you want. Fuck the rest.
hmm
Mm.
But yeah, so for me, I was a goody two shoes because I knew what I wanted to do since I was like this big,
Yep.
and I knew that I couldn't get mixed up too bad and with the law or anything like that. And like I was saying, going through MEPS, I just remember sitting there in this dude's cubicle, and he's like, what did he say to me? He's like, "You ever been pulled over?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "You ever been?"
You ever been pulled over?
Well, no, he might ask me like, he's like, "You ever get arrested?" No.
Okay.
You ever like, been pulled over? And I was like, "Yeah, but I got let off with a warning." And he's just like, "You ever been, you you ever like talk to a cop about like this, and this? And I'm just like, no. And he's like, have you ever talked to a cop at all besides that time you got pulled over? And I'm like, no. And he's just like, seriously, you never talked to a cop at all?
That's what I'm thinking.
And I'm
right
just
now.
like, I mean, I've had like casual conversation, but not because I got in trouble for something. Like get off my ass, you know. And this was at MEPS because he was just trying to like see if I like
yeah,
was lying about like my criminal
Mhm.
history or whatever. But I don't have a criminal history because, like I said, I got pulled over once on the bike, but that was because the red light wasn't tripping for me the one night in the middle of the night.
oh yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah, and I just decided to go through it, and the cop was
Mhm.
like, "Hey,
Yeah, I had a few of those.
you blew that red light," and I'm like, "No, I didn't blow the red light, sir. I waited. It didn't change. So then I just said, screw it. I'm gonna go
Mhm.
when I know the coast is clear, and the coast was clear, and I
Yep.
went. It wasn't like a 15-lane intersection. It
Yeah.
was just a 4-lane intersection.
I sat at a light for a good 20 minutes, I think. The light changed 4 times with me sitting there and would not let me go. So I did the same fucking thing. Fucked it. And as soon as I turned the corner, lights right behind me. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. And of course, he
Yeah.
gave me the ticket
Yeah,
for
naturally.
running the light. Of course.
Naturally.
My first year of driving, 16, right? First year I got my license. 7 tickets. 7 tickets.
Jimmy.
That's more than my father in his entire 60 years of life.
Dude.
My first year. Oh yeah, and it just kept going and more after that. I had 5, no, was it 5 or 6 tickets, something like that, 5 to whatever, in one night
Mhm.
on one of my bikes.
Jesus, Jimmy.
Yep,
Who let this guy have a license?
I have no points on my license.
Oh, well, that's good.
No points on my license.
That's
Everything
good.
got dumbed down to a parking ticket for
Oh,
mostly.
beautiful.
A lot of them were bullshit. My first ever ticket, I got caught speeding in a school zone
Mm.
on a Saturday afternoon when there's no school, and I was doing 35 in a 20. Speed limit normally is 30. Everybody knows you get that 5 whatever grace
The buffer.
of speed, right? And it was a Saturday afternoon, and he tagged me for speeding in a school zone. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then this guy, he was looking for shit because he pointed down in my center console right there,
Mhm.
and he's like, what's that baggie right there? Because you see a little corner of a bag coming out. He's trying to find me for shit because I'm just some
And it's
young
probably what,
punk.
your registration, your insurance?
It was a spork from Taco Bell. Yeah, it was a spork wrapped up in the plastic.
Here you
He
go.
was reaching. He really tried to get me.
I would have been like, you can keep it.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's
You can
fork.
eat your fucking fried rice with it later.
Yeah, for real. That's so funny,
Asshole.
man.
I had a lot of bad encounters with cops. I had one. This is a good story. I'll tell you this on the next one though. We'll tell you. We'll go through this in the next pod.
Absolutely.
Bad encounters with cops. I have way too fucking many of them. We're gonna wrap this up, dude. Hour and 20 minutes in. I gotta piss.
Yeah, same, man. I got to rock up this pretty good.
All right, dude. Dave. Thanks for coming in, dude.
Yeah,
I learned
man.
a lot
Thank
from
you.
you today, dude.
I got a lot of knowledge, man, but not a lot of people to tell it to.
Well, you can tell it to me because I'm pretty dumb.
A lot of airplane knowledge. That's about it, though. Truly.
I love airplanes, man. I love airplanes. That's where me and Dave met. We worked at, I don't want to say the name, but we worked at a small airport, small FBO. And that's where we met working with planes.
Hell yeah. Late nights,
A lot of late nights,
shenanigans,
fun nights.
cold as fuck, slipping on ice.
That was my favorite part, though.
Yeah, but it was great.
My favorite part was de-icing the planes. I love being up in the bucket,
Yeah, dude. And then
being
me,
above the plane.
I would never drive. I'd always make someone else drive because I was too worried.
I loved it. That was my favorite
I
part.
was like, I'm gonna crash into this fucking plane. I'm not smart enough with this.
All right. Dave, all right, we'll wrap this up. All right.
Yep. Part 2 coming at you.
Part 2 coming soon.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.